He's gone off the deep end. Thoughts, Chris?
Superman's an alien. He's got a poop fetish. Oh, yeah. He uberlibes the old shiz, as I understand it.
EconomyOfNothing.com. Anyways.
EconomyOfNothing.com.
Anyway, hey everyone, welcome back. Now, we're gonna talk about Superman.
Imagine
it's
being
gonna be
on.
great. Go ahead and just uncartoon version now, so that's great. So are you. We're in my basement after a long day's work at the Nothing Corporation. Here we are. We have watched Superman. It can be on while we're talking about it, but we have to be like, let's describe it. And I think the best person to describe it is Mike Doak, because I feel like he's got like every shot covered. But before you go in, I know you got like certain pinpoints. There's chinks in this armor. Do you want to hit?
Well,
I need you to give me an outline.
Can I cut you
I need
off?
you to give me the outline of the movie so everybody kind of knows what you're talking about.
First of all, I need to cut you off. I think it's crazy that we're back in Mr. Green's house. We graduated. We've been in the movie theater for the last 2 times. I don't know why we're back in your basement. Do I have to re-render your basement? Do I have the blender file, Mike? I swear to God, I might not have the blender file if I have to remake the basement. You son of a bitch. So maybe we're in a movie theater, if you imagine.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I forgot about the movie theater. I saw it. Okay, go. We're watching it on the moon.
Anyway, we haven't been in your basement. The first episode was in your basement. The second episode was in a saloon for some reason. And the last 2 episodes have been in a movie theater, but it's fine. Superman, the movie Superman. Okay.
So it's your favorite, obviously.
So, well, like, this is the way I didn't want to talk. I don't know. Superman needs to stop the Hammer of Bravia.
Who is the Hammer of Bravia?
And then he doesn't do it.
That's in the beginning of the movie. Who is that in the comics? Never even heard of that character.
Like, what I'm saying is the plot of this movie doesn't fucking exist.
Okay.
What is the plot of this movie? It opens with Superman with a scroll that's very cute that says like 3,000 years ago something happened, 300 years ago something happened, 3 days ago something happened, 3 hours ago something. Very fun, very creative somehow.
But no one can remember what it said.
Well, no, it establishes.
I can't remember it at all.
I
know this is like the first time he failed, right? The first time he failed.
Yeah, so he just lost his first fight. And then, Mike, I just can't. This is terrible. I can't. What do you want? I don't know how to break down the plot of this movie, frankly.
I thought you were doing a pretty good job.
But like, do you want me to just tell you it? Like, I don't know how to like.
Okay.
I don't know what the synopsis on fucking IMDb is. Superman attempts to fucking prevent Lex Luthor from being a dick, but doesn't, kind of.
All right, I'll do it.
Like,
I'll do it. All right, shut your mouth. All right, so this movie is this. All right, Superman. Yeah, like first time he's lost a battle, he is a very, I don't know, down and out Superman, kind of the way Tobey Maguire was in Spider-Man 3 when he got the Venom suit. So he's kind of like that.
That's not.
It's not totally accurate, but for someone who hasn't seen it, it's not wrong.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You picked.
And anyways, so
You do
it's
James
just
Gunn
him
stuff.
and Lois Lane having like a legit relationship that is weird. That seems to be a huge plot
It
point
was
in the
legit.
movie.
You think they smashing, bro?
No,
I don't think
it's
they
not
smash,
sexual at
frankly.
all.
I don't
It's
think they
so
smash.
like if they do anything, it's just hand stuff.
What do you mean they kiss
Just
at the
hand
end?
stuff.
They kiss.
They're-
We'll get
Yeah.
into it. I guess we can get into it now. I'm a big fan. You know what, Mike? Keep going. I was gonna be like, I like that he's like horny and keeps getting shut down by his girlfriend. It's very
I
funny.
mean, he's a fucking
I like
Yeah.
the like. What I'll say, Mike, is that like there's a bunch of little bits in this movie that I like, right? But like the overall movie doesn't make any fucking sense, kind of.
It
And,
makes
like-
zero sense. I can't tell you the beats.
Not
What are the beats?
And I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I just put it on the TV while you tried to. So he fights the Hammer of Bravia and loses, and it's the first time Superman has ever lost a fight, apparently. And so he gets thrown back to his Fortress of Solitude, which exists, and he has a dog and some robots, and his holograms of his parents, and they're like, be a good Superman. And he's like, I'm going to be a good Superman. I'm going to go back out there and fight the Hammer of Bravia. But he loses again. And we find out later that the reason he's fighting the Hammer of Bravia is because he had tried to stop an invasion. Bravia was trying to invade Buttfuckistan, and Superman said, you can't. And this has like sparked an entire international thing where the U.S. government's like, I don't know about him now, which has given Lex Luthor an opening to say, I'll do something about this guy. And I mean, fuck if I'm not bored of this, like, telling of this story, right? Like,
it's because it's boring.
It's so overly complicated, but at the same time simplistic, right? And I want to talk about some good things about this movie, right?
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
And I think that'll be Mr. Green's silver screen critique, will be like the little bit after this, where I'll talk about like my real problem with this movie. And I'll save some of it for later. But my actual problem is that this movie skips over the thing that's like, when I think about like writing a Superman movie, and like I've done some spec things a couple times. No one's asked me to, just because I'm like, what would I want a Superman movie to be? And James Gunn's movie skips over the fucking hard part to write, which is like how that happens. How Superman comes down and stops a war, and like what that means and all this. Like any sort of like relevance is gone, and we're already at the point where like secret government ops are like doing like portals, and like, I don't know, like there's like it wants its cake and it wants to eat it too. It wants to have the Batman v Superman, what if a god came down what would we do if a god came down and we couldn't stop him? And it wants to have like the Christopher Reeve, and the only way it's thought of is like to just have people switch on a dime based on what they see on TV, right? And I don't know, it's just a juvenile public perception idea that like the government wouldn't move on this guy purely based on whether like the social media scores are good enough. I don't know. It has like this, I don't know, I don't think it should have done that if it was going to have the rest of the tone it had.
See the problem with James Gunn writing, like James Gunn, I think is good at like connecting dots. I don't think he's good at literally writing the whole story. You know, like I feel like everywhere else he's had help along the way. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Like the reason he was good at Guardians is because there's just anything was possible. He's taken that Guardians approach and tried to throw it into Superman, and it just doesn't work because Superman is never a goofy character. Superman's a serious character. Yeah.
Superman, to be clear, Superman is the goofiest fucking character that exists, right? Like he's a space alien that's just some dude, but he wears fucking underwear and he can fly. Like it's inherently, and it's the weakest thing. He's weak to like a rock from his home planet. It's very silly,
yeah, the kryptonite
right?
thing's pretty
but
weak.
Like
he's allergic to a rock.
It's
like having a peanut allergy.
It's a very there's like a line in the movie where the guy goes, "Hey, yeah, what is there? Some kind of kryptonite stuff? What do you call that?" And he's like, "Kryptonite." And it's like, but no one would have kryptonite in the lexicon if not for, like, no one would remember the word kryptonite and not know what kryptonite is. That's insane. Even in our world where kryptonite doesn't exist, right?
Okay. So...
But I'm not here to nitpick that, right? Like, should we say some fun things? Or what do you want to say? I've been talking too much. Why don't you say something? You must have something to say. You said this is the entire topic.
I have a lot to say. You kind of just went on a roll there. Okay, so back to the outline of the movie. My goal is to get through the outline so that Mike Bedont can just vamp about things he doesn't know throughout the whole thing, and then we can actually like break it down again and see if we get more out of it. Okay, so I just finished that Superman lost to Bolivia or whatever. Whatever. We found out Lex Luthor also is like using the guy from Bolivia, who's clearly Superman. Like it's like you think it's Bizarro, but turns out it's not Bizarro. Oh yeah, spoilers. I'm definitely gonna spoil this. So if you don't want to, you know.
Okay,
what I mean?
so
Yeah.
like you get to bring up the things you want
Yeah.
to bring up, and I don't get to bring up the things I want to bring up. But like that's crazy. Like it's so dumb. It's the dumbest thing. Like what? Fuck you. Why would you? What are you doing to me? Like, just keep the helmet on if he's going to take the helmet off and there's a mask on. First of all, that's nothing for anyone because that's not Ultraman's not a guy you would know from the comics unless you know Ultraman is an alternate fucking Superman, in which case the mask doesn't mean like it's the fucking not the Wrath of Khan. What was the second J.J. Abrams Star Trek where they're like, "This is Khan," and it's like, who is this for?
Into Darkness?
Because Into Darkness, because non-Star Trek fans will go, "Who?" and Star Trek fans will go, "He's Khan," and they're like, "He's not." So like, just have the whole reveal be at once. It's so fucking weird.
It's playing it safe,
Like,
but also like
like
Yeah.
this gets to my general problem, and I'm sorry. Our whole thing will just be you attempting to get through this outline, right? But like, here's the thing that's super upsetting to me, and this is the other thing where I think my one knock against James Gunn in writing this movie, like holistically, is that like show the conflict. No, don't have it be like a back lot with one guy and one flag and people just standing there. Bullshit. And like my second thought is like, God damn it, like no one has come up with a better cinematic idea than Superman doing nothing or like fighting himself, right? Like that's it. It's
oh wait, you
Superman,
forgot holding
like,
up buildings because I think that's all he does the entire time is hold up buildings. He doesn't punch anyone. He doesn't like really even. The only way he just saves people by like catching buildings or like holding up things that
That's
are falling.
what I'm saying
That's
is,
it.
like
over and over and over. I want to see a dude. I want to see Superman punch somebody and they like go through like 30 walls. Like I don't want. Yeah.
like I was watching this shit go, and we'll get to it, I guess, when you get to that part of the thing. But I'm watching this and going, I mean, Man of Steel is a better.
It should
Superman
be Man
fight.
of
like it's like
Paper Bag.
like I don't know. There's that big kaiju fight just takes place in some city square that's the perfect size for a kaiju fight, and it's because of it. It all still feels like such a harsh reaction to Man of Steel that, like, again, going back to like the idea that they decided to make it about like this political dispute. It's like you were just categorically unwilling to say anything. That like, I don't know. And this whole movie looked cheap, dude. That Bravia border shit looked like the cheapest. Like that looked cheaper. And I thought the same thing about the air fight. Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW looked better than this.
You know, honestly, where I thought James got
Brandon Routh fighting Tyler Hoechlin over their fake Metropolis looked better than the Hammer of Bravia fighting Superman over their fake Metropolis.
I feel like
Or not as bad, and considering it cost a tenth of a quarter of the dollars, like looked considerably better.
are you just gonna start talking the second I talk? You gonna keep doing that?
Well, no, I feel like maybe it's a delay on the internet. I feel like you're not.
No,
talking,
it's a
and so I just
dramatic
keep talking.
pause, dog. I said I feel like, and then you're like, boom. I feel like, boom. I'm gonna take it over. I feel like James Gunn just played, the Suicide Squad video game. I think the sequel or the first one, and was just like, or watched the movie and just got all his everything from that. Like the squid, the like giant jelly or starfish thing, like that's that starfish from that, dude. And it's just
Dude.
like I feel like everything he took was a trope from a video game. And the reason that he has that kaiju fight in that exact little, because that's a video game. That's a video game fight,
Yeah,
and we don't
so-
even question
so-
it because we're so conditioned to it.
So we need to remember James Gunn directed the Suicide Squad. So that Starro thing is exactly him. He did that movie, and he would have been the head of DC at least when that Suicide Squad game came out. This is the thing that bothers me about this Superman, right? Like the thing that bothers
Wait, he's been
me
the head of DC
about
the
Zack-
whole time?
He's been the head of DC for like 2 or 3 years. That Suicide Squad game, like he wasn't the head of DC when the Suicide Squad came out. They did Suicide Squad 2016, which everyone hates or likes or I can't. Internet, you tell me. Here's a short I'll cut out. Internet, tell me what everyone thinks about the 2016 Suicide Squad. But then he did like in like 2021, and it came straight to HBO Max. Because remember, he got canceled. Listen, Superman getting canceled has to be a response to him getting canceled. I swear to God. But yeah. So like he did Suicide Squad with Idris Elba and John Cena, and then he did Peacemaker. And sometime between Peacemaker and now, they made him the head of DC with Peter Safran.
I think. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't realize he was like involved with so much stuff. So like he does do good things. I don't want to like. I do like a lot of his old stuff. And I do like Peacemaker a lot, and it feels like
no. But to your point about the big kaiju, right? Like a thing that bothers me about this movie is like Superman's like, don't kill this thing, and then like the Justice Gang or whatever the fuck they're called, kills it, and they kill it in such like a brutal fucking way, and Superman just stands there.
Yep. I was gonna say I think James,
despite the fact that like they make it very clear that like no, he likes to preserve, like he saves a squirrel, but he won't like fly in and stop Mr. Terrific's orb. Like there's the moment of tension between him and the Justice Gang is Guy Gardner thinking he has a bunch of whores, not like him getting in front of them going, no, I'm Superman. He never stands in front of anyone and fucking stands up to him. He doesn't fucking do it.
No, he doesn't.
What is his message? What's the message of this movie?
The message of this movie.
Wait till Lex Luthor can redeem himself with his money. Anyway, continue your outline.
Anyways, so yeah, kaiju fight. It feels like James Gunn wanted to make a Green Lantern movie more so than a Superman movie because it just keeps showing new characters the whole time. And I will say that this version of Mr. Terrific is pretty badass. It's like I think what James Gunn, if he's doing anything, is he's making an Avengers. Like he's rebooting it through the Superman. Like I think Superman's not even going to be a character movie for it. I think it's going to be like an Avengers with like Mr. Terrific. Like it's like all the main characters that you would want to be number one. They're taking a back seat, and it's going to be all new squad. I guarantee you that's what he's doing because it just does like you can't. Him and Nathan Fillion have been boys forever. And I think this is just, he's like, I can just do whatever I want. I'm just going to make a Green Lantern.
Okay.
That's what I think is happening.
So he can do whatever he wants. They're making a Green Lantern TV show. I think this Green Lantern TV show, it's called Lantern, it's on HBO. I think it will be the test for what any of this stuff is. Because this Superman show is a PG Peacemaker, which I don't think works.
Yeah,
right?
No, it doesn't.
I think this movie isn't sincere. I think it's pretending to be sincere. And like, if we just want to get into it and fuck it, because I said however many podcasts ago this was going to be my problem with the movie, and it is my problem with the fucking movie, is Lex Luthor. And the insistence that he be something other than pure evil because of money, right? And like Superman gives this speech at the end about being good, and then he just has to be like, and one day, Lex Luthor, you need to learn that too, or whatever, because like there's nothing we can do about how rich you are. Which is like an upsetting thing, but it's fun. Let's set it aside. The scene where Lex Luthor shoots this guy in the head. is so fucking bullshit. The point of that movie, the point of that scene is because throughout the start of the movie, Lex Luthor hasn't really gotten his hands dirty. And you want to be like, no, Lex Luthor is a real bad guy. So we are going to put in a scene where he does the real dirt. So you put in a scene where Lex Luthor shoots a guy, and now he's a real bad guy, and the audience actually hates him. But for some reason, despite all of the, like, you need to redeem him in the last act. And why do you need to do that? Maybe, who knows, right?
Who knows?
There's a thousand factors that are put into it. Maybe it's like pressure from the studio. Maybe it's a bad storytelling. Maybe it's because you've already written the spec script for the next movie and you know it's a team up between Superman and Lex Luthor and you need to kind of bring him back to the good. But it's a thing we've talked about on this show about TV shows before. We've talked about it on about The Office. And I'm like, if you had known where these characters were going to be 6 seasons from now and that you were going to try and get America to love them like your sweethearts, you wouldn't have had them do the Fu Young fucking Christmas or whatever, right? But this is only 40 minutes later in the same movie you wrote. This isn't you not thinking ahead to what you want to do with a character down the road. This is you by the end of the movie being like, no, we're going to redeem this guy who has done nothing but bad stuff. And I'm sure that the way that James Gunn would rationalize it is that Superman sees the good in everybody, right? But that hasn't been his journey in this movie. The journey in his movie is maturing and understanding that things are more complicated than that. But then at the end of the movie, he still thinks things are that simple, but we still get the catharsis of the dog throwing him around so that Superman's hands are clean, and we said
why they
nothing.
Gave him?
And I apologize for talking so much.
Is that why they gave him the dumbest parents ever? Why did they give Superman this clean cut chiseled guy the most redneck just looking?
I think that's such horseshit.
Oh really?
I do not mind Ma and Pa Kent being goobers. I don't give a fuck about that.
Okay.
Right? But
I don't know. Kevin Costner's dad just seems so dreamy, you know? Son,
well,
you're not ready. I'm going to die in this hurricane.
The Jor-El being evil, I'm sure, comes from the comics, but I remember it from Smallville, right? Yeah. And the counteract in Smallville of his dad being such a, being an evil conqueror is that, his parents in that show, at least from my memory, give some good speeches about being a good guy and kind of stuff. So
I didn't get that vibe from this couple.
I didn't get the vibe from these guys that they had anything really good to say to him, right? Which maybe the story was because at the end, dude, this is so weird. At the end of the movie, can you explain this to me?
No.
I understand what James Gunn's doing because I understand that he wrote the script so he understands what he's doing. So at the opening of the movie, he's listening to his father, and the Alan Tudyk robot, who's playing the same robot he played in Star Wars, is oh, he loves to listen to his father while he's whatever the fuck we're doing.
Randomly Bradley Cooper.
It's Bradley Cooper because he's Rocket Raccoon, and then at the end of the movie, they do that same thing. He loves to hear from his parents, and they cut to it, and it's videos of him as a kid or whatever. It's oh, now he understands. But it's when did he do this? It's this movie that wants to live in this poeticism that it doesn't earn or something, where it's no, you started us in media res, which is a cool concept, but you left us in every single character's bit is the same 3 bits. They do a thing. Another character goes, oh, that's their thing. And then in the third act, they do it inversely, right? I don't know.
Here's the problem.
The Green Lantern goes, it's against my oath to do something. And the guy goes, well, it's always against his oath. And then at the end, he's like, well, now my oath's fun. It's like, oh, what a fun story. It's like, yeah, but it's too repetitive. It's Creature Commandos is the Suicide Squad, is the Peacemaker, is now this, right? I don't know. Is that crazy?
Listen, I just want to bring up one part that reminded me of this. Like, yes, I don't think the movie
I'll never talk
no,
again.
I don't think the movie earns the little oh, now Clark Kent's videos that soothe him are now memories of all his parents when he was a child. And it's like, okay, so like, yeah, maybe this stuff happened, but you didn't earn it. You didn't earn to get it, in my opinion, because it's like, in order for him to have that revelation, he would have had to have some thought of his parents before then, other than when they just showed up to take care of him. He didn't have a realization that, like, you don't all of a sudden one day think that the thing on your ship is the thing that soothes you, and then all of a sudden it just flips. Like, it's a slow process, and they treat it like it's just like, oh, well, now I know, and here we go. It's like it's a '90s sitcom ending.
Yeah, and it feels like it feels a bit lazy too, in that, like, it's like, oh no, it was damaged, and the damaged thing wasn't a Lex Luthor trick, it was actually
All right,
evil. Like, it just all lined up so easily for everybody, you know, in a way that's, like, I guess convenient for the plot, but like felt
right, I'm going
odd,
to transition from the timeline thing because I feel like me listening to you ramble is getting really annoying, so we'll come back to it later. But here's the thing. I want to talk about the villains of this movie, other than Lex Luthor, because I think some of them are pretty ridiculous. There's a girl who's basically just nanobots, and she turns into, like, I don't know, is she like a cyborg or something? I don't know, really remember her name.
She's the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer. And, I mean, cool power. I don't think she's used in a way that's any way unique. She's just used as, like, every robot-ish character. And the only...
Yeah, she could have been a T-800.
Yeah, and I think the thing, she's, like, loyal to Lex Luthor either because he programmed her to be, or because he showed her the future, and she agrees with him. This is the only way to, like, stop it. I think they say that. I can't really remember. But, like,
Dude, that...
she's just too... Like, she's so overpowered, but also, like, so weak at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think the villains. I mean, the villains are pretty weak. Like, that like Planet Watch thing where that whole scene's where Lex Luthor's like this is Ultraman, and this is the engineer, and these are my Flying Legion, and they're Planet Watch, and they're gonna come up later.
I forgot about like, Planet Watch. It doesn't show up till like randomly at the end of the film.
It's such a lame fucking team, dude. Like, it really did feel like Suicide Squad 2016, where they were like, what if Superman came in and ripped out the White House? It's like, yeah, these motherfuckers wouldn't be able to do anything about it. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, send this alligator skinned man after Superman, right? Like the engineer never felt like a threat to anyone. Yeah. Obviously just the random and Ultron bots didn't feel like a threat to anyone, to Superman. And Ultraman, as fucking, who else could he have been, right? Like, it just did. He was just like, oh, it's evil. It's like evil Superman or something.
He's
right?
supposed to become Bizarro at the end, right? Like, that's when they throw him out into space or something.
Yeah. Again, man, it's a thing where it's like, okay, but like, we did this already, because like, this is what Batman v Superman was like. Zod was like half Zod, half Luthor, and Batman v Superman was him fighting Zod, who's just a Superman. Like, Superman 4 with Christopher Reeve is literally they take a hair and make Nuclear Man. This is the plot of Superman 4 in a way. A movie that no one likes. But
I haven't even watched it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, the engine here, like, I like, you know what it is I like the idea of this movie so much, right? like I like the idea that like Superman has to go up against a group of supervillains, right? Except for he doesn't.
He doesn't do anything in this film, dude. I've been trying to say this movie is a Green Lantern movie. That's I think Mr. Terrific has more screen time or just as much screen time as Superman in the back half.
Can I ask
Yeah.
you a question? Because you did, and I know this isn't villain stuff, but you liked Mr. Terrific, and I went into the movie obviously having seen it after it like ended its theatrical run or whatever, and everyone was like Mr. Terrific stand out. And I'd also seen a story where James Gunn was like, we interviewed like 200 people, and we're like, no, it's got to be this guy. And I was like, I think anyone could in the world could have delivered those lines the way he did. I did not feel anything about his performance. Or am I crazy?
I don't look. Here's the thing. I don't know the name of that actor. I've seen him in other stuff, but I think he delivers a really good like dry Mr. Cool beat vibe.
Like it felt
And I think that
Drax.
But you got to hear me out. Because technically on the CW there was Mr. Terrific, and I think he wanted to like delineate. In the CW, Mr. Terrific is the complete opposite of this one. He's not badass. He fights. He doesn't have like cool gadgets and stuff. You know, it was not Diggle.
I know. Okay, so well, Diggle wasn't someone else, Mr. Terrific, but I don't remember who. But yeah, but I don't know. That was the like. I think we watched it together the second time, and I was like, "This is the Yondu fight again," which is cool. But like, I thought that movie was popular enough that like I wouldn't be the only person that was like, "Oh, I've seen this before." You did this exact scene already, to the point that like Yondu's arrow had a red trail, and all his T-spheres had red trails.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think the average. I think most people that are like Marvel movie watchers watch Marvel movies and DC. Like they're two different brands, so I think that's why he gets away with it. But like, yeah, I mean, it's the same. I think it's crowd pleasing enough. I mean, it was more interesting than anything Superman did. Like Mr. Terrific had the best parts in the film.
And of course, like this, my genuine complaint, I guess, about this Superman movie is that like I just wish that like Superman had been more Superman. Like and it's weird that I keep coming back to it, and I don't know why, right? But like it's the kaiju fight when Superman just like, oh, come on, guys. Like I don't understand why it wouldn't have made a better movie if when like Green Lantern's about to stab that thing in the eye for the first time, Superman jumps in and the Green Lantern thing shatters on Superman. And Superman's like, no, I'm flying this thing out into somewhere else and we're taking care of it. And he has an actual standoff. But the only standoff with the Justice Gang is they're like, well, we don't want to pick a fight with Planet Watch or whatever. But we're like, that's not a thing. This is a thing they made up at the beginning of the movie, right? And I don't know. Like, Superman's all sad that, I don't know. It's weird that somehow this Superman feels more mopey to me than the Man of Steel Superman, despite that the Man of Steel Superman was the mopiest motherfucker on earth, right?
It was pretty mopey.
But like, this Superman felt like I do not believe. Here's my problem with this movie. I do not believe that the Superman in this movie did the thing that they said he did right before this movie.
What did he do right before?
This Superman seems too wishy-washy to have made the stand against Bravia on the border like they said he did right before the movie, right? The way he just gives up right away to Rick Flag and all this shit. Like, it's like, this guy doesn't have the compunction before this movie to have made the stand he did. And I think that's what doesn't work about it, right? Is like, it feels like, oh yeah, the Superman at the end of this movie would have. But the Superman at the beginning of this movie wouldn't have.
Right.
But we're supposed to believe, you know what I mean?
He's even arguing
like,
about it with Lois. Like, the argument was that. You know, like with Lois.
Yeah, his argument was of someone who had not done it
Yeah,
Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? His argument
People
was
were
something
going
like,
to
I'm going
die.
to fly down and do
He said,
this.
people were going
Yeah.
to die.
And it's like, wait, so like, and then it's like so like juvenile as a script that like, oh, and just nothing's happened since. There was this border conflict that was about to like pop off. Superman came in and said, turn around, and then not a shot fired, which I guess is fine, right? But then like, then his argument should have been, and I saved all of them. And it's, you know, I just don't believe that this Superman
Had the balls
did
to
the
do
things
it.
prior to
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that what it is? Is that what's bothering me about it? Is that like,
Yeah, it's two different Supermans. I mean, I don't think anybody's looked at it like that, but that's true. And here's the problem. Here's the biggest problem I have with this movie. No,
like,
just
why
let me
would
just let me
Superman
finish. Just let me
not-
finish. The biggest thing problem I have with this movie is that the plot moves forward for the plot's sake to move forward. Like everything in the story is so convenient to the next moving plot point. And the great example I have is that one dude who has the hand that turns into kryptonite in the cell. And then all of a sudden, he saves him afterwards. And like, here's the thing. If Lex Luthor is smart enough to get Superman in the cell, trapped by
it's
kryptonite,
insane.
why would he leave him alone
It's
with this guy?
Like it blew my fucking mind. I was watching this scene and, well, first of all, to my point earlier of like, the second they're like, you're going through a portal, he doesn't go, ding, I'm Superman. Fucking no.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't agree to go to a fucking portal. But anyway, like at any point before this guy slowly makes kryptonite, Superman could have done anything.
He's faster
But
than the
then they have
Flash.
him, like-
This is the Superman faster than the Flash, by the way.
They have him right across the way, and like with it, that guy's little like weird alien child, but then he has a human wife. I don't fucking know what's going on there. Anyway, you assume that the guy's looking at him hold the kryptonite over Superman, and then it goes away, and you think the guy across the way would go, huh, it's not glowing green over there. Aren't I supposed to be on the lookout for something? But I guess he's not. And then the guy like makes a fucking sun, and it takes like everyone around him yelling, hey, this guy's making a giant sun for anyone to fucking notice.
I mean, wouldn't the dude just like kill his child?
Was his job not to sit there and hold the kid and look across the aisle? But he just, and listen, maybe he's the worst worker of all time. I don't know. But again, that would speak to Lex Luthor being a bad Lex Luthor, which
Also, that jail
continues to
doesn't
be
make
the
any sense. Like in most of the it's like they didn't think about stuff later because in the beginning, the cube shots, like if you look at all the cubes, it's just
there's no toilets, and then they show up in the close-ups.
Yeah, in the close-up, the toilets are there, but like they're just standing in a cube. Like it's like these people don't get fed or anything. You know, like it's a whatever in the middle of a universe prison. At least Marvel has their prisons in the middle of the sea that come up, and it's like it's an actual thing that could be built and happen. Not a stupid mini universe where you just have this. Who's the fucking weird guy taking him on that stupid boat? Why do he look so weird? What was the point of that? Who is he?
Again, this is the problem with the movie is that as in a classic Mike Allen expression, the movie wants its cake and to eat it too. It wants to be this, hey, look, it's this weird comic book universe and we're not going to explain everything. So just come along for the ride, but also real world conflicts. And it's like,
no,
it
doesn't work.
I just feel like it fucked it up, man. Yeah. I just feel like it fucked it up. And
again, I think James Gunn didn't want to make this movie. I think he had to. And he shoved every part of every other character that he liked into it and gave them better stuff than Superman. I think he was allowed to reboot it on the premise that he had to redo Superman. I think that's what happened.
I think yes. I think you're right. Because this movie has not a classic Superman movie problem, but the classic problem with people's understanding of Superman, that he's like the most boring person in his movie. Like the idea that like Superman's too boring to have the focus of the movie be on him. Right?
Yeah, They
And
tried
I
to do
think
what
that
they
this,
did with Captain America, like in the first Captain America, because the first Captain America is a little
yeah,
boring-ish, but they make him like literally just the guy that does the right thing. But you can't do that with Superman because he's too overpowered. So you make him a pansy, and you're like, that's what you do. You nerf the hell out of him because this
yes,
Superman cannot
like
beat
you,
Flash in a sprint. Like you said, there's it's given
like,
us
and it's
nothing.
fine.
Yeah,
Like then you have to make him this moral like the other thing that I think James Gunn ignored in writing this movie that I think needs to be done in a modern Superman movie is the dual roles of Superman v Clark Kent. And the idea that as opposed to almost every other superhero, he is Clark Kent at his core and he puts on the persona of Superman. Whereas like a Batman, Bruce Wayne's a front and Batman's Batman. And like almost every other superhero, they go out in their normal life to like pretend it's their normal life. But they really want to be out there superheroing. And that's their like desire. Whereas Superman fucking just wants to be Clark Kent so bad.
He's just trying to get some
like,
punani. The punani.
Right?
Punani.
But
Punani.
because he's Clark Kent, he can't not save everyone possible. So like when he's sitting there and this fourth dimensional imp is there fucking attacking the city, like everyone else has it. Superman, either you're above the day-to-day or you're in it. But this Superman is picking and choosing, and the movie's pretending like he's taking, like, do you know what I mean? Like, what 1 second the movie's like, this Superman has to save a squirrel. And the next moment, he's just going to let a battle happen and not get involved while he talks to his girlfriend. It's like, something could go wrong here, dude. How fast are you? What can you do? What is your mission?
Can I just say something that just really just like the movie really thinks highly of itself, or somebody does. In the marketing, they were showing like James Gunn having this Superman really trying to think about who this Superman is, and he's like talking. He's like, he would act this way because of something for like a speech, and James Gunn's like, yes, because he is human, and it's like trying to show behind the scenes of what this making of Superman is, and like I just feel like that whole scene was just not that. I don't think it was as impactful as I think it was.
Which scene was this supposed to be?
It was a marketing campaign. It kept coming on all the ads, and it wasn't a trailer of it.
When they said this scene's supposed to be impactful, oh, the whole marketing campaign, or like
it's like instead of just showing a Superman trailer, it was like showing a behind the scenes of James
just a bunch of fuckers talking about like how important.
Like
that's never a good sign,
dude. I was just like, this is a new strategy, and I see what you're doing, but like to me, it just didn't. I think they think it's a lot more nuanced sounding than it is. It's very basic sounding. It's very just like, well, yeah.
Like, yeah, I
think James Gunn thinks the average person is like completely an idiot. The average comic book fan is an idiot. And the reality is most comic book fans are very intelligent. And they know that shit to a T. So, like, I think you're insulting the fan base for sure with this movie. I think so.
But you know what this movie feels like?
Like he didn't want to make a Superman movie. That's what it feels like.
This movie feels like it was designed. You know how we always complain about so many movies are designed by committees?
Yeah.
This movie was designed to please a committee.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like James Gunn has absolute freedom to do whatever he wants. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I'm like, what's the unreality of some of the CG? Because it all looks fine, right?
Yes.
But like in some of these scenes where like he's fighting the Hammer of Bravia, like I think the thing that like clicks in your head is like, this can't be a real camera, so none of this could possibly be happening, right?
Yes.
Like when Christopher Reeve flies by the camera's like stationary enough that you can just assume a camera is somewhere, right? But like they're like flying through the city and the camera's like whipping around them, and you're just like, this is Oh, and that makes you think for 1 second, and then that 1 second you think, you look and you're like, that city's fake, that guy's fake, this thing's fake, it's all fucking fake. I'm not watching anything.
Wasn't that river called like a neuron particle river or something?
It has the craziest names. Like, oh, you can't get into the proton. And then it's like him holding this, and it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
Why
frankly.
couldn't he fly out the river? Why
Just
couldn't
that
he
scene.
fly out the river?
I don't know. And why? Like, I don't understand. Like, this is what I'm saying. You can do anything with Superman. And one of the action scenes you have with him is him holding an alien baby in a fake river, getting punched by a fake thing. And I'm just like, can he, like, the tagline of Superman, like, 78 was like, you'll believe a man can fly, right?
Yeah.
And
I
like,
don't believe
the
this
tagline of,
man can fly.
and the tagline of this is like, you won't believe any of this shit.
Yeah, you won't. It's pretty bad.
Like, and it's not because it's a comic book movie and we can't buy like comic book things happening, right?
Yep.
It's that like you cannot have it be like this weird border dispute, but also a multi-dimensional prison.
It's
and
trying
shit,
to
right?
be Jason Bourne meets Guardians of the Galaxy meets James Bond of a Superman film, and it can't do it. It can't be all three, and for very good reasons, because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't feel real. It feels forced. It feels fabricated, and again, it felt like James Gunn, because he can do good shit. He just made the bare minimum to move on to the things that are going to be good, which is he clearly likes Peacemaker.
Which is fine.
Which is good.
Maybe that was which is the job. I think the job was don't fuck this up, which I think he did, but not box office.
Yeah.
Wise. Here's one more thing I want to talk about, and then we'll finish it out with like one last thing I want to talk about. But just because it's one of these things I have to say, because it's just me talking, is the part with Jimmy Olsen and the chicks, which I think is fun. There's stuff like Jimmy Olsen, like
so
this nerd chicks like is
why
fine.
are they?
I don't
either, but it didn't make it came out of nowhere. I didn't understand it. I was kind of like, why are they fawning over him? They haven't established that he's like this guy that gets so many chicks, other than the fact that like I think Lois in the very beginning is like, oh wow, like everybody's just saying like you get a lot of chicks, and I'm like, I just don't believe that. He doesn't look like a guy who gets a lot of chicks.
Which again is a joke,
Yeah.
and can be a joke. A guy that you don't think gets chicks,
But they
gets
didn't
chicks,
set it
right?
up right. I don't know.
But-
It's hard to find.
And the only chick they have that they like show it off with is Lex Luthor's girlfriend, who it's kind of like played as a joke because all chicks like him, and then this chick's too much about him. Well, who's the chick? Oh, it's Lex Luthor's girlfriend. But then
How
there's this
convenient.
scene, and I'm like, it bothers me. I've been thinking about this scene so much. It's the scene where she's like hidden in the closet. She's like, Jimmy, I'm gonna send you all the information. And they're like, he's like, oh, I don't want to talk to her, blah. And then like it gets real for a second. She's like crying. She's like, hey, but Jimmy, we're gonna get to hang out this weekend, right?
He's like, how?
And
all weekend.
it really felt like what they were trying to do was Captain America going into the fuck. Obviously, it's a bad example, but like Captain America going into the ice. That moment in a movie where two people like acknowledge a thing between themselves that will never happen because of tragedy, right? Hey, we're gonna go out on Tuesday. No, because I sent this to you and Lex is gonna kill me. Is what I thought when she said that line, right? But then they play as a joke where he's like, oh, well, no, maybe we can't. And I was like, oh, this was just a funny bit. But then Lex like grabs her and drags her out of the closet. And I'm like, oh, so this was, it's like when he shoots him. Do you mean any of this shit or not? What is this movie? Other than, to your point, the jumping off point for other shit.
That's all it is. It doesn't. The Jimmy part of that movie was terrible to me because I feel, again, it's another character that doesn't deserve his status in the film because none of it was like prefaced, none of it was foreshadowed, none of it was explained. I think that's my biggest problem with it is it's they took your fandom and they were like, hey, remember all the things you love and all the little tidbits and little details that got you
Again,
to the thing. Don't interrupt me, Mike. All the area where it got you, we're gonna take advantage of that. Do jump cuts and just assume you know everything, and then show this version of Superman, these versions of characters that you're a fan. They almost kind of make you feel bad for not knowing in a way, because it's like, well, you should know. You wanted this. And it's like, man, fuck off. If that's not a big, like, pass the buck type of feel, you know?
I can tell you for fucking certain, I did not want a Superman movie with Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, Mr. Terrific, and the fucking engineer. I didn't want it.
No,
I'll
I'm saying, but you wanted another Superman film. But they're just like, you should know by now who Superman is. I mean, this generation really never got to know what Superman is. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but it's crazy. This is a Snyderverse problem, right? With Batman, where they're like, you know Batman, but then the second he shows up, he's not a Batman you recognize in any way, right? Where it's like, all of this stuff is like, you know Superman. And I'm like, I guess I do. But like every single time I think I do, he acts differently. So then I'm like, well, which part of what I know about Superman exists in this, right?
The real problem is The Boys does a better job of doing a Superman when they're not even trying to do a Superman. You know what I mean? Like
Ultraman is so black noir. It's killing me. It's the only thing I can feel the entire time The Boys, Black Noir. Is he not wearing,
he's wearing the same outfit? He doesn't talk.
I don't know. Like
I thought it was kind of crazy. Stupid that Lex Luthor studied every one of Superman's moves and can counter it, and it's just like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Can I tell you the stupidest thing? Like, fine. Let's say that he studied every one of Superman's moves and he understands them completely.
So we saw all the fighting off screen.
Fuck all of that. Sure. Mike, you've been in a fight. I've been in a fight. Imagine being in a fight with a guy and his advantage is that someone across town knows all of his moves, knows all of your moves, and that guy can tell another guy to push buttons into a computer that will then tell your opponent what to do to you.
Exactly.
I don't even have super speed, but I would fuck that dude up before that phone call went through.
I agree.
like, just like, you know what I mean? It's like C4, and then the guy types it in, and then it blinks on the screen, and then he grabs his face and smashes him down. I'm like, Superman could have punched you 1,200 times before someone said C4 and a guy typed it into a computer, right?
Again,
like,
this is not the Superman that can beat the Flash.
But this isn't a Superman
at all
that could beat anybody.
This isn't a Superman that wants to be in his own film because James Gunn doesn't like Superman. He likes Green Lantern. He likes Mr. Terrific. Like he does not like Hawkgirl. That's pretty obvious. He
doesn't. Like, the problem is James Gunn doesn't like any of the characters you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's a bit of a problem. And like, I think it's so funny that like he got like kicked out of like Marvel and stuff because like, I think the plan for Marvel before they canceled him or whatever was like to have him just like do their D-list roster, which I think would have worked out very well.
But I think doing a D-list roster is
now,
great for someone that has nothing to prove because the expectations are low. You know, that's why Guardians work. Nobody knew who Guardians were.
Like I love Peacemaker season 1. Mike, we've talked about it, not on the internet, but who loves Peacemaker season 1 more than me? Very few people, I would imagine. But like the idea that Superman's playing like second fiddle to Peacemaker is is the reason I don't like captains. Because like not in a world where people were allowed to make good decisions and spend their money correctly would Peacemaker be worth more than Superman, right? Like do you know what I mean? Like not like sure, right? Like you think Peacemaker's worth more than Superman because like you fuck Superman into the dirt and then well, Peacemaker was the only good thing happened. But like Superman is a better character than Peacemaker. Like inherently through just like his existence through time, right? Like there's so much you could do with him. And categorically, James Gunn seems to think that the only thing you can do with Superman is catch people, right?
And buildings.
Like, and it's sad, right? Because like, I don't know. You just wish that maybe they'd give the reins of Superman to someone other than someone who's like, he punch hard or he like not punch, right? There's like, I don't know. My favorite like Superman moment is from like the Justice League cartoon when like he's like starts just like beating down Darkseid. Like after Darkseid like fucked everyone up and Superman just like fuck it. And Superman starts beating the shit out of him and like punching him through buildings and stuff. And he's like, yeah, usually I'm not trying very hard, but right now I'm pissed as shit, right? And I'm just gonna fuck you up, right? Like, and I'm like, yeah, like, I guess if I had the feeling that this James Gunn Superman was holding off, I would have felt something else. But like when he lets them kill the kaiju, it's like, oh, because you can't stop these three idiots.
Yeah.
But he was such an empowered Superman that he thought he could do world peace. Like it's weird because metahumans have existed for 3,000 years. So he already met all these people. He's met other people, and he just thought he could come down and be like, "I'm going to end this war." Do you know what I mean? A thing that Supermen who exist in these universe, like, which again is fine, but James Gunn explain it. The only explanation in the movie is Superman's bad explanation.
Yep. And that's how every explanation in this movie is. It's in a freaking apartment.
You said it earlier, right? And the problem with this movie is that it's stuffed with characters and obsessed with plot. And that's a recipe for disaster. That's Ocean's 12. That's a recipe for disaster, right? Like, you got all these characters. The story needs to be their interplay. But
they're not even playing together.
The characters don't drive the plot, right? Like the plot drives the plot. Like Lex Luthor's like, I'm going to leave you here till tomorrow, and then I'll solve all the problems. But I'll shoot this guy right now to make this other guy like it. It's just things happening. Right?
Yeah, like and if Lex Luthor is so smart and got to clone Superman and study every one of his moves and know how to counter it, like you said, through an earpiece across the globe and be able to fight him and also be able to create portals and also like be able to do this mastermind plan of Brivia. You're telling me this is the same Lex Luthor that would leave Superman in the cell with the guy, directly with the guy that can create the kryptonite on his hand, but also has the power to create the sun. I assume knows he can make. I mean, this is Lex Luthor is supposed to be the evil Tony Stark of the DC universe, like, but even smarter, like times 10. And he makes these dumb decisions. Like that's where you really lose me. It's like you're smart enough to make all this shit, but you make this like dumb decision.
Like, this is the problem with cinematic Lex Luthor, and like maybe it's the medium of storytelling or movie storytelling. Superman needs to beat Lex Luthor's mind, like with his heart, or something. Do you know what I mean?
They try to do that, but it does not hit.
But it's just a bullshit speech where at the end he gives Lex Luthor a fucking out. Yeah. Like he did Sam Wilson in fucking Captain and the Winter Soldier. He's like, you guys, Lex Luthor, you need to do better, right? Is what he said. Like, we've gone to the point where we can't plead for the government to do better anymore. We have to plead to billionaires to do better. That's the story of fucking Superman, apparently. A man who can do anything has to beg billionaires in David Zaslav's DC universe.
What about that ending though, where they took out the Peacemaker thing, where they switched it? Didn't they swap it? Peacemaker's now in the ending, and there's no longer Well, there's no Flash or what was that in Peacemaker?
Okay, we can talk about the Peacemaker show in a second because maybe that's a dovetail for this. But I really do have. I don't have thoughts, which is why I want your thoughts on. Take the movie out of it because we can't compare them based on movies, and stuff. But the Lex Luthor, what's his name? Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, I like Nicholas Holt as an actor. Again, I don't think it's like his fault. I think it's just poor writing, poor character. Like, I guarantee you, if you didn't have someone like Nicholas Holt doing it, it probably would have been way worse. Because like at least his mannerisms could show things like that. He's like annoying. There's little things that he does to prove that he's like an annoying Lex Luthor, like, but also like super smart. But even though not smart enough, I don't know. I do feel the vibe that he is like immature. Like they're showing like a teenage version of Lex Luthor a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but Nicholas Holt's like 40 or something.
I know, but he looks like a
like,
young child, in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that like
I don't know, he's just skinny and the bald head makes him look really young. Like he's like 25 or something.
Yeah. I think that like, well, obviously it's better than Jesse Eisenberg, right?
Well,
like
yeah.
Though the thing I couldn't help while I was watching is being like Nicholas Holt in the Jesse Eisenberg movies wouldn't have worked, and Jesse Eisenberg in this wouldn't have worked. But I don't know. He seemed, I don't know. I really hated the part where he was just like, I know I'm being petty. And I was like, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and so what's your point? He never had a point to anything other than he was just like a narcissist.
No, he didn't have a point to anything. Like, and people are like, well, he's stealing from like the story comes from like All-Star Superman, but like this Nicholas Holt isn't the peak of humanity, right? All-Star Superman, like Lex Luthor's problem with Superman is that Lex Luthor is the greatest man. Like, it's why before everything went wrong, I thought that The Rock should have played Lex Luthor.
Oh.
This idea of this guy, imagine The Rock, he's a billionaire. He's in the best shape anyone's ever, like, how could anyone have worked harder, tried better to be a better, bigger, smarter, you know what I mean? Like, just like, he's done everything he can, and this motherfucker just shows up and gets to be fucking Superman. I'm fucking waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day, going to the gym, making trades, doing all this shit, and this guy just shows up. Like, that's the Lex Luthor that, like, works today. I think
that would have been a great Lex Luthor.
Is this ultra human kind of guy who's like, no, I'm the peak of humanity, and how dare this guy even come here and call himself a man?
Yeah, and it's kind of like it's kind of like this, like, in his mind, he's the guy. Like, if you're somebody who's all natural going against a dude who runs like juice, he's the guy being like, that's bullshit. Yeah, it's
this guy who's like,
that's fucking bullshit. I did it all natural. This guy's juicing. Yeah, and he's like, but he's done everything. And it's Lex Luthor's out here.
Of course, Lex Luthor's out here. He's The Rock going, I did this all naturally, and I'm the best, and I earned all my money. Meanwhile, obviously, his dad gave him all his money, and he's like on steroids, right? And that's like, but there's nothing. This Lex Luthor isn't a character. Yeah. He's nothing.
Because nobody does it back. Because when you get to skip all the little nitty gritty parts of the fandom you love when you do that 330, 300, 3000. And yeah, these characters, you're stupid for not knowing where we're at in the story. Like, it takes advantage of your fandom. And you're a super hardcore fan, and you're saying that it's taking beats from like 7 different freaking Superman timelines and just
Which is fine.
If it worked.
Except for the beats I think about it takes from like the Lego movie and shit. I'm telling you, that's what the lava looked like in the Lego movie. And I'm telling you, Lego Batman ends with Gotham City getting split down the middle. I swear to God, when I watched the movie the first time, I'm like, I hope they all take their hair off and stick their feet on their heads like they do at the end of the Lego movie, right? It's I don't know. It doesn't exist in our world, which is fine. Like, I think that, like, part of the problem with the MCU now is that they're trying to still be like, and we're in your real world. I'm like, no, you guys have a million things have happened. You haven't addressed anything that's happened in our world in the last 5 years or that's happened in your world in the last 5 years. But anyway, like, I don't know. Like, everyone in this universe is just the dumbest fucking diphead. Like, no one's, I don't know. I didn't, as I talk about it, obviously I didn't like it. Which is unfortunate, I think. worst movie I've ever seen, I guess. Though better than, I don't know, man. Is it better than Man of Steel?
Is it? That's the real question.
Is it better than Man of Steel?
I don't think it is. I think it's cheap. I think it's cheap and just novelty, and it seems like it's better, but I don't really think that, like, yes, there are some cheap gimmicks, but most of the gimmicks have been done before. It takes advantage of your fandom, kind of treats the viewer as just dumb or makes you feel guilty for not knowing more, and then has no resolution. I mean, you could at least say with Zack Snyder's, like, he was trying to tell a story. Like, and his characters at least were trying to grow. It may not be the way we wanted it to, but in my opinion, I think they took the characters more serious.
You know
in
what
his
it is?
Universe. He was, yeah.
Is Zack Snyder Superman? I get perhaps with the power of hindsight is like, hey, he's doing a take on Superman, right? Whereas this feels like it's trying to be like, no, this is definitive Superman, and I'm like,
yeah.
Right? Like, there's a lack of vision, right? I think we watched some of it together, and I was like, and it's to your point, maybe James Gunn just didn't want to fucking make this movie.
That's the
every
main
every
vibe.
scene, every shot is just a James Gunn fucking.
Like you said,
James
Yondu's Mr. Terrific part. Like, best part in the film is not even Superman's part. It's somebody else's. A D-list character's part.
Like, Superman does not do anything.
He does nothing. Cool. And my thing is, here's my thing with the stupid river scene. I just, like, he's floating down the thing. He's fighting. He's clearly in the river, and they call it like some neutron, something river that can rip you apart. But here's my thing. Either Superman, the legs still work in this river so that he's staying afloat, or he can fly out of it. But you're telling me that he's stuck in it? But somehow, like, dude, you don't just get stuck at neck level. If this thing's, like, descrambling your whole body, like, there's nothing to push him out of it. So, like, he's just hanging in there.
He, freeze breaths himself out of the black hole. Yes, and again, like, it feels weird, because these all do feel like nitpicks, right? But they come to the general thing that is, like, a lack of, like, characterization. The problem is a lack of, like, specific characterization of the character of Superman, which, in my complaint of Man of Steel, is I do not like Zack Snyder's characterization of Superman. My complaint of this is I don't think James Gunn successfully characterized Superman, right? Like, I can't say anything outside of, like, general critiques of scenes in this movie about this Superman that isn't wildly generic.
Exactly. It's a pick your own storybook. It's cheap. It's cheap. And again, the best parts of it are not Superman parts. Literally every other character.
I didn't want to be. I'm sure I sounded negative or on this when it started. I didn't want to be so negative, but as I think about it, I'm like, oh, it is. It's one of those things where it's like, oh man, if you had tasked me with making a Superman movie, obviously I have ideas, as I said before, but no, I haven't thought of like what's the cool Superman action scene that I would do, right? But like, I would have sat there for a really long time and like thought of it, and like,
listeners, if you want us to do that,
what
please
is there
like
one
and,
in this
please
movie?
like, subscribe, and comment.
Is there like, again? I think I fell asleep when he fights. Does he do anything cool at all?
The coolest
like,
fight
does he
scenes
ever?
that
Does he ever punch someone super speed to the other side of him and then like hammer two hand down on the back of him? That's my favorite Superman movie. Doesn't
I
do
mean,
that?
he
Yeah.
might. The best moves he does is when he's fighting himself. But it doesn't. It doesn't. Listen.
So the part of that I always see is where they end up back in the Lego rift, and it's like nobody's punching
my thing
nothing.
is the reason that the fight between the two Superman, like the good one and the bad one, is so unimpactful is because there's no stakes. Like
Yeah.
you not only did you make a Superman movie, but you also set it up where all the Superman parts that he has to do has no stakes. I don't feel it's so
it's
unremarkable. You know, there's nothing happening.
It's the It's crazy that like it's the MCU problem from like phase 1 multiplied, right? Because the problem with so many of those movies was like, well, it's Iron Man versus evil Iron Man, or it's like, you know, Black Panther versus evil Black Panther. You know, it's them versus themselves, right? And which was like a problem with so many. Thor fights another Asgardian or whatever, but like, and there's more to all of those than there is to this, because this isn't even an evil version of Superman.
Yeah, it's a dumb.
This is just
computer,
a brain dead nothing, right? Like, and so like, at that point, make it a fucking robot. Nothing is gained, but like, there is no story that nothing is gained by it being a clone of Superman, other than like confusion of like, does this mean anything? And it's like, no. And like,
you keep in mind, he had a sub.
He kills him with.
Keep in mind, Lex Luthor had a sub pocket dimension of a ton of bad guys, and his best ones that he could use against Superman from a stake perspective was the clone program. Like, that's what I mean. Everything in this movie.
He couldn't keep a gun on Metamorpho's son and get him to help him find the Fortress of Solitude. Also, Mike, can we talk about the Fortress of Solitude for a second? Last thing I'll talk about till. Please, for the love of fucking God, can someone attempt in my lifetime to do something visually interesting with the fucking Fortress of Solitude? It has been a fucking crystalline structure on TV and movies since 11 years before I was born. If anyone could come up at some point with a different idea. And my last point I will make, to your point about all this fan service, is what people need to understand about Superman is that Superman, like all of the good, like a lot of the evolution of Superman is through like storytelling and like other mediums. So much of what we think of as Superman comic stuff came from the Superman radio show and like the later serials on TV. Like Kryptonite's not from the comics. So many things aren't from the comics, right? And they come from them needing to come up with ideas for the medium they're in, right? And so I'm watching these movies that are not adaptations of anything because they're not adapting the source material to the new like art form. They're just going, look, doesn't it look more like it?
Yep.
And I'm like, that's not an adaptation. That's a copy or something, right? Like, doesn't this look more like Superman? Sure, but it's not a more cinematic
Again, and I'm going to
Superman.
bring it back to this. Zack Snyder's Batman and Justice League and just his Batman, like, as much as we like shit on him, he did have a different Batcave. It wasn't like, and what was crazy is it like, it was kind of a mix between the comics and like a Christopher, Nolan Batcave. They didn't go super in depth, but like you could tell it was that, right? Like I'm just saying they put that effort in.
Like,
They put that effort in more so than this movie did. This was just a CGI little like bloop.
I dislike the color grading of the Snyderverse. I don't like that it was.
I also here's another. We're talking. No, don't just
But
stop.
it
I'm going to
looks-
say something.
it
You've been talking the
looks
whole
so-
time. I don't like that Fortress of Solitude because I don't feel like at all that Superman knows how to use any of the equipment in there.
Yeah,
Like, because I mean,
It's-
he would have to make
I-
it, right? Like, it's not like it was just there. What, he programmed a bunch of
well, it would.
robots to make it for him? Like, what?
I mean, I don't mind. Like, again, I wouldn't mind it as much if it had like its own visual style, right? But to the same thing as like they're stealing the language but not talking to it is like that looks like the Christopher Reeves Fortress of Solitude, right?
Oh my God.
but
Mike.
like
I know what it is. I
No.
know. You know what? I take it
okay.
back.
But the robots aren't in
No.
that one, so how did they
No.
get there? You're
Listen, James Gunn he obviously didn't want to make a Superman movie film. He wanted to make a Supergirl film. That makes the most sense. Because, like, everything, I think everything here was probably some ideas from a Supergirl movie, because I think that's why they show her at the end, and they distinctly show her that she, like, one of the things you find out, she likes to go on other
next movie
planets.
is
Yeah, she likes to
is
go off
Supergirl.
planet to get drunk
Yeah.
because she can't get drunk on this planet. So, like, and I think it goes like more into mental health and stuff like that. And like, I think that angle, that character of Supergirl in this film would have done better as the lead, and would make sense why Jimmy is like a friend that like all of it.
Yes,
I think this
think-
was supposed to be a Supergirl movie,
Again-
and then they're like, no, you can't do Supergirl first. You
yeah.
gotta do Superman first or something.
I think that's totally a fair argument, and I also think that this movie would have worked better as like some like Justice Gang movie where like Superman kept showing up. Here's a fun idea, Mike. This movie where Superman is the antagonist, right? Often people confuse protagonism and antagonism with good guy, bad guy. But like Superman as the antagonist of like, he's not showing up to solve the problem, but every time like people step out of line, like Superman comes in and he's like, hey guys, I don't think you're doing this properly. And like this group of people that are like either trying to like overcome his shadow or like get a job done out of his view or something like that would be interesting. Because like I think that like the moments in isolation of this guy being Superman, he's a good Superman. I think that's, you know what I mean? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with him as that, but like it's just like I don't know what he's about. And the only thing it's trading on is other Superman like logic and like things I know, but it doesn't like match up to any of it.
I think my opinion on him is skewed. I'm not a big Superman fan. I'm more of a Batman fan. But I will say that from the actor's point of view of trying to humanize him, I got to give him credit for that. I mean, you're only told, like, you got to go out there and say the lines that you're told by the director that says it. So I think he did the best with what he had. But and I definitely think like there's a version of him being Superman that works. But in my opinion, I don't think
It's a movie. Yeah. It's a movie that's worse than the sum of its parts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I think that in isolation, a lot of the things work, right? Like, I think that, like, if there was, like, a show about, like, any of these things, it'd be a pretty good show. But, I don't know, man. Now that we talk about it like this, it's like they started their universe with Age of Ultron.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It feels so slapped together, but so like polished. You know? Yeah.
Yes, it's like these are people that know how to make movies. I'm not entirely sure why they decided to make this one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I guess because they had to, right? Like it's like one of those things like Bunk from The Wire plays like Perry White, and I'm like, fan fucking tastic. Doesn't fucking have anything to do here. You know what I mean? Like,
So,
but
wait,
like I don't know.
what coming out? So, like, whenever they did this the first time, was Man of Steel before Ben Affleck Batman, right?
Yeah, they did Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League.
I wonder if there's a clause in this whole, like, whenever they bought the rights to this, that Superman has to be first each time.
I mean, I think there's just no way to get a group of people together and have that not be the consensus, right?
Yeah,
Because like I bet James Gunn was like, if I could do it, right?
yeah,
I would build up to like Superman would be my Avengers.
yeah. I think you would start with Aquaman.
Like I would have a bunch
or,
of
like,
street.
I think Aquaman, because, like, literally, you could do Aquaman in a way where there's conflict on underseas that affect up, like, on land, but also never crosses path with those heroes down there. And then how, like, he starts with that, and then, like, wraps up by the fifth movie character with Superman, which is your team up.
Yeah, like because like it's like Superman. He's the game killer, right?
Yeah,
And the idea that like he's the strongest one. So like I don't know. I think that like I don't know, where do you go from here? It just feels like you started with like so much shit, and I don't care about it. Which
yeah. Also,
may be the
too.
biggest
Also,
problem,
too. I
but
think
don't know.
you could do your first movie like Green Lantern, second movie Aquaman. Like, it's still like, I think, Green Lantern in a sense should kind of be as powerful as Superman, but again, they never do it correctly in a way.
Or yes, because I think if you want to start with your universe already like fucking like pre-built or whatever, like I think what you have to start with like a POV character,
Yeah,
right? So like you start with like, at some point they were like that Blue Beetle is in the DC universe, right? So maybe and of course you can't do this, but no one will let us do anything. So what I would do is Blue Beetle 2. Obviously I wouldn't call it Blue Beetle 2. I'd call it Blue Beetle Electric Boogaloo. And it would just be like, it would be like him getting to join the bigger DC universe. So like the problem with this movie is you already have an ethereal camera way up in the sky. The camera needs to stay on the original Avengers. The camera's like on shit. Do you know what I mean? Like if the camera's up in the sky, it's because it's right like attached to Iron Man or one of those jet skis or something. Like you need to be with the people. You need to be with someone who's like, what is any of this stuff? And everyone in this universe knows what all of this stuff is. So it's a bunch of conversations talking about shit a bunch of people should already fucking know.
yes. And last thing, and we need to wrap up because we've been going a really long time.
I know. I thought we were gonna laugh earlier.
But last thing I'd like to say is that I think that, God, what were you talking about? You were talking about the Marvel Avengers. I also think too that maybe this is like, we lived through it, man. We lived through the nostalgia of not video game, superhero movies in the same way we lived through like the height of like video gaming, like where every game was a banger. We lived through the Marvel phase where every Marvel movie was a banger. Now like it's just like so oversaturated that they're just not going to be good because people have become complacent, don't want to, right? Like if you really want to know the main reason why like superhero movies suck now is because the level of writing and detail that went into the first Marvel Avengers leading all the way up to Thanos, like Endgame, even Endgame Part 2, comparative to everything they've done now, is that the level of detail in the writing was there. And that's missing throughout everything past then. Because they know they just can't do that again. Yeah. Maybe I think Marvel's going to try to do it again, but again, like you guys have made so much money, there's no way you're going to do it again. There's not enough motivation because you're not hiring the right people who will be motivated enough to do it. because you're letting nepotism and all these things run rancid in your industry, and you're wondering why people aren't watching things. It's because we're not entertained anymore. Because you won't bring in new stars. People need to sunset. People need to retire. We need to see new stars, and not the stars you pick, the stars we pick. That's what we want to see.
And I think
to get invested.
To your point, Mike, and when you talk about the video game stuff, it feels like the same thing of like video games when they were just like, oh, well, there's more like pores on screen and the fire looks better or whatever, right? It's like there's not better superhero stuff happening. It just like doesn't now we can do a continuous flying shot for 20 seconds as opposed to only 10 seconds. And I'm like, but like I think about Iron Man 1, and this is not Iron Man. This isn't Iron Man.
Not even close.
To your point of like in Iron Man, they knew what fucking mattered, right? And like what mattered was believing that this guy was in a fucking Iron Man suit, right?
And that he learned,
and like
and that he was like a rich billionaire. He didn't care about anybody. Then all of a sudden he wants to save the world, and he learned humility, and he learned all of these things throughout all the movies. And you actually believed it because the person that got to do it actually went through some hard times and learned it, and actually can convey that through his acting. I don't get the sense that a lot of actors have that today.
Yeah, man. And I mean, the biggest thing that goes against this movie is how fucking cheap it looks. It's the cheapest fucking $250 million movie I've seen. And then not because like the visual effects don't look good or whatever, Mike. They all look fucking great.
Yeah. It's 11:30.
What I mean is every scene that like doesn't take place in a CGI place is in a fucking room or an empty forest or lies. Like I love the economy of filmmaking, but like, come on. Why is the CIA keep meeting in this one fucking weird set? I don't understand. Anyway,
yeah, and why does the CIA have to do anything? I can't talk anymore about this. It's been almost 2 hours. It was a great episode. Everyone, thanks for listening. EconomyofNothing.com. You know all the stuff.
EconomyofNothing.com. Gmail.com/EconomyofNothing. Now EconomyofNothing.com/Patreon redirects to Patreon.com/EconomyofNothing. So, you know, however you want to hit it up, fellas. Or ladies.